And you can talk to that camera if you ever want to talk to the camera.
Oh, good. Okay.
Hello, we are back from South by Southwest. I'm Jade Floyd from the Case Foundation, and if you've been tuning in all day, you have listened to our interviews with influencers, investors, social impact change makers, and a lot of entrepreneurs. So we are so excited to have with us today my dear friend Fran, who is CEO of Chief Social Architects. And Fran's history, goes all the way back to her time at the White House, on the National Security Council staff, as well as a role as the first director of social enterprise at Politico. So Fran, first let's talk a little bit about those moments in your life and how they all led to where you are now with your new endeavor, which is Chief Social Architects.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and for being here in Austin. It's very cool to see some of our local DC kind of community transplanted into the biggest festival that I actually have been participated in. And we see that more and more that countries and different cities are activating here, and part of that is really this interest in the world of social entrepreneurship and social impact. So even in the White House, I knew that I was fascinated by those kind of entrepreneurs and people who were making changes in their communities by selling a pair of socks or changing the way that they drove to work every day. And those are the small innovations that entrepreneurs make on the ground that start to really attract big public policy change makers themselves. So we started to see a lot of interest in South by Southwest a few years ago, and it's amazing now. We have a We DC house that actually at Politico, I was fundamental in kind of bringing that Politico conversation to Austin and introducing, the congressmen and the congresswomen that are able to join us here at the festival so that they have a platform and it reaches those ears and eyes back in DC. So thanks for what you're doing. You make it even easier to make the case for clients and partners that I work with all over to say social entrepreneurship and social innovation does affect public policy, and we are seeing it all over.
Exactly. And so talk to us a little bit about some of those clients. So Chief Social Architects, tell the viewers exactly what you're doing and how you are being the connective glue that's bringing and uniting all of these people together, oftentimes from different sides of the aisle, from different sectors, and really bringing entrepreneurs into the fold with these other segments of society.
I love it. So the name actually came from a friend of mine when I worked at the White House that had said, you should be called, an architect, but you're doing it with people, and you're like some sort of social architect. And what that really means is problem solving through people. And we all know that getting a job can be tough, and it takes a village, and you need a community, you need a network. All these people above you are saying your network, your community, your core group of people that are willing to kind of stand on the sideline and say, that person deserves this job, you should really hire them, or you should do business with them, or you should go work for them. These are all really big decisions that actually take word of mouth, and they take a network. But how do you grow that, and how do you build it? So early on at the White House, this was something as a young staffer, you learn quickly. A good idea only gets to the front of the pack if it has great stakeholders from all different angles and all different points of view. So I learned quickly that if I wanted to make impact, it was about connecting the people that had impact already to great ideas and giving them resources to make it happen. That carried over into the private sector with Politico and making introductions and kind of partnerships in that world. And I realized quickly that I loved this work, but I wanted it to be connected back into what brought me to service in the first place, which was, looking around my community and deciding that terrorism and drugs and the kinds of things that are eroding communities all over the United States and around the world deserve a new look and a new energy of people that are interested in starting economies and starting new markets where young people actually can go out and go get a job and feel complete and satisfied with the life that they're living, because we know that that's not an equal opportunity yet for everyone, even here in the United States, but also we see that around the world. So combining all of that, these days I take my network and I help others problem solve either in their company or in a big project that they're working on a big summit or a big campaign. And I get great stakeholders, professional athletes, speakers, musicians, artists, people, entrepreneurs themselves who can kind of take that person's idea and help grow it into their network and in new ways and faces.
And you've done that recently with WeWork.
Yes, that's one of my clients.
Some of that project.
So this WeWork is a fascinating company. They're here in Austin as well, and we've got a couple of locations. As a client, I actually work on their philanthropy project. And what I help them do is actually connect into communities where they have physical locations already, but are looking to not only incentivize entrepreneurs to grow their companies with money, they also are looking to grow their companies and grow the community of people that are working together in those cities with a job fair. And this started to come into my world because as I was working at the White House in counterterrorism policy, what we heard over and over across every community we were working with, favelas in Brazil to Morocco and to places where there was radicalization problems, we realized that jobs were the only things that were coming across to the mothers and the young people that were getting pulled out into these communities of terror. And we realized there is no displacing, drugs. There is no kind of countering terror. You really can only take those things away by replacing them with something positive, like a sports team or an entrepreneurial setting where you feel so connected to the mission of your job and your company that you can't imagine being drawn off to somewhere else because your purpose and your place is with this team. That has driven me all the way to going back into consulting for public policy programs and big philanthropy teams like WeWork, who are taking a wholesome approach to how we actually encourage economic inspiration and kind of innovation.
So what's next? What's Chief Social Architects going to look like in 1 year?
Well, it's been a ride myself. I've worked on entrepreneurship policy for 10 years now, and I think I woke up and realized that I've even been in the workforce for 10 years. I came immediately out of college into the White House as an intern and worked my way after 5 years into the roles and positions that I felt were meaningful and had given me a good foundation to kind of go out into the world and continue to build bridges between the government, which is, an aging workforce every day, and help make that translation to my generation, to tell them and show them places where we can help make impact. The environment right now between what's happening on the ground in the White House every day is much different than when I was there, but that still doesn't mean it's not worth working on.
Yes.
And those jobs are difficult, and the people who do them, in and out of administrations, they are the true heroes and the true servants because it is service to your country. So I think you'll see my company continue to play in and out of this public-private partnership space. I like to be the glue in between a lot of these industries, and I think that there's a lot of progress that can still happen, even in an environment where potentially study abroad and entrepreneurship policy might not be getting the headline news every day. There's still great programs that are happening, and they need to be worked on.
There are, and we're so excited because South by brings a lot of those conversations to light and really brings all the ecosystem builders and the investors and the entrepreneurs out. And you are at South by for a very special reason under a totally different hat.
Quite physically, I am in a full-on Peruvian Brothers food truck outfit and apparel from Hecho en Peru, made in Peru. The really fun way that I'm connected here is actually through my fiance's company. He also is an entrepreneur, and the Peruvian government for the first time has made an investment in entrepreneurship in technology and innovation and has brought their country of Peru the best textiles, music, musicians, virtual reality of Machu Picchu. You can come on over to 84 Rainy Street over in Austin, Texas, down below the convention center. We've got neighbors like Twitter and Pinterest, so we feel pretty cool down there.
You're amongst good company.
We're selling, actually the Washington DC food truck made the trip out here to Austin. So as a true entrepreneur's partner, I am rolling up or taking off my sleeve, really, to go out there and work with
And
him
support.
this week. And yeah,
Well,
sell some sandwiches.
As a Texan and as a Washingtonian, I'm so excited to see the two unite. And so if you are at South by, definitely pop down to Rainey Street.
Please.
The Peruvian Brothers food truck is going to be there for the next couple of days.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you for taking the time to come speak with us and share more on your work to really build and unite great companies, as well as to be the connective glue as a chief social architect. So thanks for joining us, Fran.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for everything that you do to make it easy for entrepreneurs to connect.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in a bit.
Thanks.